Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, blues, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program known as Topic Thunder, sailing from port aboard the USS Rapapa. My name is Brooks. That is Ben. Welcome into the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call that the Thunderdome, and it is the heartbeat of the show that we call Topic Thunder. We fashion ourselves as the Internet Saloon. And we mean it because Ben and I are going to pour you guys some conversation. And it's already a bustling VIP and VIP. Holy smokes, I was going to talk about this, but we have a special VIP in the room. And one Aaron Peterson.
Wow, that blows my mind that young man is listening to us do this podcast right now.
Super cool, because I actually got a chance to see Aaron over the weekend at a birthday party for cousins Ari and Ivy, and I had a really great conversation with the young man, and I mean it, like young man.
That's what I'm talking about. That blows my mind that you could say those words about him.
We say we sound really old like old men-ish, and
the gray in our beards is getting grayer as we say it.
By the second too. Now it's starting to show up in
watch
my
your
mustache.
Language. I am sorry, I cannot watch my language. My own children can attest to that.
So I had a little conversation with Aaron, and it came up that he listens to the show.
Awesome,
right? He paints. He just started getting into Warhammer 40K, which is like that miniature, like kind of like top-down war game. I never played that.
But it sounds incredibly complicated.
I'm sure it's all dice at the end of the day with these games. It's all just a roll of dice and stuff like that. Like who's got more dice, who gets it up, that kind of shit, right? But like one of the things of 40K is that they base the game around all of these like miniatures, and you have like miniature armies that you can paint and customize. You can have your own so he's really gotten into that, and he listens to Topic Thunder while painting his
very
Warhammer
cool.
stuff.
Awesome.
So and thank you, Ma Jordan. I am old and proudly wearing it, to be honest with you, and hoping to share a little bit of that earned wisdom with you guys here today as we're going to do what we normally do, kind of run through a gamut of topics, some tough with some palate cleansers in between. We try to end up really nice and light and set ourselves up for a striking landing in a lightning round, but lightning zone. Oh no, that's too fine. I just inadvertently created a new timeline where there's a lightning zone. Ladies and gentlemen, brought to me and bought by Gigi, Amy.
Wow, that is the second Steve Dahl reference in regards to your shirt. He made that own reference before we came on the air.
Truth be told, that Chris would be the one that would know. And I was like, oh shit, Ben, I completely forgot. I was like, I also like the pumpkins. Billy Wack brought that up in the chat in the Thunderdome. Like, those are some badass pumpkins. I was like, Ben, nice pumpkins. And I realized, oh shoot, this is the last show before Halloween. And I literally just told Ben's like, I'm Dennis Rodman on the Pistons. Yeah. Okay. Have at it. I was like, I'm a bearded Steve Dahl.
Yes,
exactly what I said. Thank you, Aunt Chris, for recognizing.
A bit morning zoo crew. It is. Yes.
All right, we're coming at you live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the program. We're going to take you all the way through your morning drive here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We got a lot of people listening right now. We're going to get right into it. We got Wacky Ben in the driver's seat over there. That's what we call it.
Going to the chopper for the traffic report.
We're going to go up to 80 Cleaver for your on the scene in the chopper, weather, and traffic reports. We do them both because we're smart. She's up there. She can see the weather, and she can see the traffic below. That's what we do here on the Wacky Morning Zoo.
Woo!
I'm in the wrong.
I'm the
business.
wacky sidekick. Yeah. I'm the sports
you're not
guy.
Rob. You're actually Ben. It's not exactly like Howard Robin. It isn't.
Right.
I don't consider you a sidekick. I consider you a co-host. I'm not the host of the show. I'm a co-host of the show.
Right.
I don't look at it like, but like, yeah, we're your morning zookeepers, or I guess Wednesday evening Thunderdome sweepers. I don't know. We're info tenders. And we like to welcome you into the program with a little libation. This is new. This is new to me. It's
right up there on the coolest can.
Pretty neat, right? The Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
So Hobgoblin is the brand. That's your I guess the label. This is their Ruby beer. I don't know what Ruby beer is.
Yeah, does that
Ruby Beers Day?
I was gonna say is that leads me to believe that there is like a fruit flavor to it, or like a grapefruit, almost essence, a citrus.
Oh, I thought it was going to taste like the actual gem, and I was like, I've never tasted rubies.
Well, that I guess that too. I don't know.
I've been on my my pun game lately.
Yeah.
So here's to ask Gigi. We were driving in a car and I was singing parody songs. It was quite intense. All right, so enough about me as I
Gigi, start recording those and sending them to me, please.
As I drift off a la Steve Dahl into an awkward dead air situation. Here's a Hobgoblin Ruby beer for you, folks. Okay. So it's kind of more on the line of like an all right. Wait, I hold on. There are definitely hints of a little bit of sour in there as it finishes.
Okay.
But it begins, the original like taste and bouquet is more of like an Irish red, which Gigi and I were talking about. And then again, I credit to her. She bought this for me. Thanks, babe. Finishes actually kind of sour, kind of dry.
So I want
more.
To it.
I want more.
Does it say on the can? Like usually on the can, it'll give you like what the ingredients are.
Let me see what the website says. Because I can't see the can anymore. There's not enough light in here. My eye prescription is no longer valid.
Here we go.
Drink legendary. This distinct Ruby beer's sweet caramel, and fruity aromas tease the taste buds. My taste buds have been teased. Brewed with smooth and rich chocolate and crystal malt, and a blend of Fugels and Styrian Golding hops. My favorite band from 1972.
Fugels and Styrian?
It's Fugels and Styrian Golding. They were like a trio, like singer.
They were like Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, but those dudes like completely buried these guys and stole all their songs. By drinking this beer, I can expect a delicious, full-bodied toffee flavor and fruity finish of figs, raisins, and dates.
Oh, okay.
I got none of that because my palate is ignorant.
Yeah. Did you taste chocolate?
I did not taste chocolate, nor did I taste
or a fruity. You did kind of say that you had a fruity finish to it.
Smell says citrus. Taste toffee dry. I got the dry part right. Biscuit. It literally, this is the taste they advertise on their website. It tastes
like a biscuit. It's really, I don't know if it's hard to read on the screen there.
On a bitter scale of 1 to 5, it gets a 3 bitter.
It is a 1250 pound.
How many ounce? Pence.
Milliliter. It's 500 milliliters.
Milliliters. Allergens, barley. Oh shit. It was good.
Oh, there it is. Folks. The hops. Fuggles, Styrians, and Goldings.
It's a badass can. One could argue what
it is. It's right up there. Like. Yeah, it's right up there with the best cans that we've had, other than that unicorn one.
But unicorn versus ninja will always be.
That is the bar. It has been set.
It has been set and not reached yet. So I guess why don't we just get to it? No snappy segue into it, folks. But Nobody's done it before or will ever do it since. Anybody got anything to talk about lately? Is there anything going on in the news that we should talk about? It's getting really hard to find news. I can't get away from this, right? Amidst all of the other conflicts that we've seemingly covered in Ben, this is episode 132 Topic Thunder. I feel like we're becoming more and more war correspondents than just bringing happy news to the people. But I feel like it's our duty to kind of like take a look at the news the way we take a look at the news, and you folks join up. It's the world's most dangerous chat zone for a reason, because we share and respect opinions. So of course, those are the rules of the day. If Bobby Suzuki shows up, let's be kind to that poor soul. Why don't we? Even though we don't know who you are, but we have several suspicions. First off, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to Israel Hamas, which is again a nice way to kind of like state that, because that's what it is. It's not Israel versus Palestine. It's not Jews versus Muslims. It's State of Israel versus the terrorist organization known as Hamas. We've talked about how information has become very murky and how information can be used as weapons. Let's go to The Guardian, who might actually be one of the last bastions of at least honest reporting.
Right. There are some hints of bias, but as unbiased as one can seem to get.
And we increasingly talk about how difficult it is to find unbiased news. The UN chief was shocked by a misrepresentation of comments in a row with Israel. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to read what the UN chief said in totality. Excuse me, I did not hit the cough button. Steve Dahl would be disappointed. Basically, the UN chief in a I lost my bookmark, folks. Here it is. This is the statement in totality. What this was said by the UN Security Council on the UN Security Council on Tuesday. Quote, it is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas. And those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. That is a statement by the head of the UN.
Mm-hmm. Fairly benign, what you would expect.
There's find me a weak spot in that statement.
There's a very level-headed way to approach the subject. Yeah,
it is what, but it's also what we're all thinking. Like this is not exactly a black and white situation as many of these things are, but I don't know that we've ever had something so like in the gray, and not so much in the gray regarding what's right and wrong, because the murder of any human being is wrong. Attack and killing of any women and children are wrong, according to rules of warfare. We've never seen something that is so gray that like, I can, whatever, right? You have this statement by the head of the UN. That's not what Israeli media and apparently the UN representative of Israel went on a tirade about. They only published the first two sentences and said, it is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of occupation, suffocating occupation. That was what
they just cut it off there.
That is what they complained about, not the total statement, not everything that was said. And it's very important to hear the whole statement right? Not parsed
Yeah.
up information.
Context matters. Full
Yes.
context matters.
Especially when lives on both
Right.
sides are
Literally at stake.
a tremendous humanitarian disaster, along with
What is going on in Gaza right now is horrendous. Horrendous, the images that are coming out of Gaza right now. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of images because there's not a whole lot of media that is actually allowed into Gaza. If they weren't already there, there really is not a whole lot of media access getting into Gaza right now, from what I understand and what I've read and seen. But the images that are coming out now, I mean, it is just people that have nothing to do with Hamas being caught in the middle and being that not only bombed, but then purposefully denied aid to help them when they're injured and their lives are destroyed and their homes are destroyed. I don't see how this makes the situation better. How are we how is this getting it any closer to a resolve? There doesn't seem to be a want for a resolve. We're still, and here we are a week later, we talked about this last week, we're still in the eye for an eye phase.
I think my dad solved the problem to a two-state solution. You don't have a voting solution. You agree upon a set of boundaries, and every 4 years you have a soccer match, and that determines the winner. And that country they're the president. Actually, that's in a two-state solution. Just play a soccer game, settle this. There's nothing to settle. It's
That's just it. At the core of it,
people.
you can't settle this. There is no settle of this because both sides feel like they have a for lack of a better word, right to exist in these areas, and the other side doesn't think that they do have the right to exist in these same areas. And this is something that is cultural over many, 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 many generations of families and peoples.
Thousands of years.
You're never, there is, and unfortunately, there is no good way that this ends. But I know this, throwing bombs in the middle of civilian targets. Here's what's getting me the worst, Brooks. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but this is what fucking gets me all riled up, right? Intelligence officials from the US and Israel will tell you that they believe that Hamas is underground, literally underground in these tunnel systems. That's what they believe. Yet they are still bombing cities occupied by just residents. And then they have the gall, Brooks, to go on television and pitch it as this is Hamas did this to you. Hamas is holding you as hostages. So be mad at Hamas that we bombed you. Don't be mad at us, be mad at Hamas. That's the pitch that they're trying to sell to these Palestinian people. It's terrible. They're saying we know Hamas is underground, but we're still going to bomb civilians. How are they not the bad guys in this? If I didn't tell you which side it was and I just described that to you, you would say, shit, that's the bad guy side.
But I could also say then your good guys are raping women, mutilating, beheading babies. Like there's evidence of that now, right?
Side. So there is no good
That's
guy.
why I said that it's so gray that we have to keep in mind that the gray here, because each side now in this not only like a physical, like ballistic conflict, but the information warfare is so important right now to both sides. Last week we talked about the initial reaction to the bombing of the hospital, right? Was what it was. Like, oh my God, there 500 people are dead, when it never really hit the hospital, hit a parking lot. There's a still raging debate as to where that rocket came from right now. And
Mhm.
and we even withheld any sort of judgment and gave reservation to the idea that it could have been a false flag attack.
Right.
All we were trying to get to the bottom of was like, was it an Israeli airstrike as it was being promoted versus something that may have accidentally landed at a place that I don't know that you would target if you're trying to inflict maximum casualties, right? So we have to be very careful as the information is being parsed to us and being headlined to us, because
I get it, but these
each
are the
side,
intelligence officials saying that they understand that these people are underground. Then it seems
but the rocket systems aren't underground.
inhumane to bomb places that you know the bad guys aren't. If you know you're not bombing the bad guys and you're bombing, what does that make you?
You're bombing the spots that they're probably using as headquarters for ground forces, above ground, and or like rocket launching spots. I get what you're saying. I understand. You
Right.
know,
And I get what you're saying too, that the other side is awful too, that there
the other
is
side
no
is
good side
clearly
here.
using humans as shields and civilian
That way,
establishment.
that's why there's got to be a better way than just throwing bombs at each other.
I
Because that
agree.
only escalates to a level that you cannot come back from. Like generationally altering. I mean, look at what happened in Japan. They still haven't, fully recovered from nuclear bombs being dropped on those areas. We're getting to that point where that's where this goes, right? If they just keep tossing bombs at each other and there's no sort of diplomatic effort put in whatsoever to try to find some sort of ceasefire, because there is no ceasefires off the table right now. Israeli officials and and U.S. military officials have publicly stated that they believe at this point their rhetoric is a ceasefire would be a win for Hamas. And I just feel like they're not getting the point here. The point is the ceasefire is let's stop killing innocent people that don't have anything, and they're not Hamas. Let's find another way. Let's find a better way, because just throwing bombs in the middle of populated areas is not the way to handle this.
It's 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 so complicated, right? And we're just a couple of
But it's our human nature to just want revenge and vengeance.
something that to justify our loss, or some way to redirect our energy into that type of like, we all felt it here in America after 9/11. This is the only thing comparable to that is that the feeling of like, who did it? Let's go get them. Who the fuck did this?
Right.
You fucked
Everybody
up
get
my
in your
Tuesday.
car. We're gonna go find those motherfuckers.
Right.
Right. It's
Yeah.
that sense of they did what to my sister. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Like watching two ginormous skyscrapers in the biggest American city fall will do that to you. And I'm sure the same way, like losing power and running low on food and water and fuel to run hospitals is terrible. It's horrible. At the same time, for the Palestinian people to kind of allow Hamas to run the joint, basically. And I'm not trying to, because
Is there an allow though? Like allow is a kind of a weird word.
uh
They're a extreme militant group with a heavy arsenal of weapons and obviously great leadership that knows how to plan things well in advance. They're
foreign
not just
state
dummies.
funded. Which is
Yes.
foreign state funded.
And also foreign state funded. Yes.
They got a lot of these guys that participated in this attack on the 7th of October apparently received special forces training from I don't want to say their name for legal reasons, but it sounds like Iran somewhere today.
Right. Yeah, and if we start getting Iranian Iranian bots in the from YouTube, we know that we struck a nerve.
We tickled them.
Yes.
I think
I'm skipping ahead, but it speaks to one. We can go back, but it speaks to one of the. What am I trying to do here? Come on, there we go. this right here. Like, this is a headline that is anger inducing to me.
I was gonna say like that's their response. That is oh, Fiona, you're all wet. You were outside. Okay, hi. Welcome to the studio, Fiona. You can't see her, and she's not sitting on my lap because she's all wet.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, it's raining outside. Weather alert. In response to the dire request for such simple things as fuel to run generators, to run hospitals for people who are on life support, and necessary power for like an OR or something like that. The Israeli military says, ask Hamas for fuel. Apparently, because Hamas has more than 500,000 liters of fuel in tanks inside of Gaza. And they don't, the Israelis don't want to bomb that because that would be probably
Obviously, you would make a big explosion.
horrific. But on the same note, Ben, again, headlines are great, but they mean nothing until you read the entire story in the same story. Maybe in the same story. Yes, a senior UN aide told the UN Security Council earlier on Tuesday that the United Nations has 400,000 liters of fuel on trucks in Egypt ready to go in and provide that fuel to the Palestinians. However, Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari said on Tuesday, accused Hamas of stealing petrol, adding petrol will not enter Gaza. Hamas takes the petrol for military infrastructure. Do you see how this keeps going in a back and forth? Like, Israel's not wrong.
It's not just hospitals, but also desalination of water is huge.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
And they can't bake.
They have, which is another huge thing. The simplest way to feed people
bread and water.
bake.
Literally, we're talking about bread and water. Like, the bread lines are awful. I saw an interview with an American who lives in Gaza, and she was saying that the bread lines are outrageous. The running water stopped like in that first day after the attacks, and that you basically have these jugs that you have to spend all day walking around town, what's left of town, trying to find a spot that has running water. And when you do finally find a spot that has running water, there are hundreds of other people also trying to get that water. And you can imagine the desperation that all of those people have, and the impatience that those people probably have in having to wait to get water.
The violence over resources like that.
I mean, it is just an awful, awful, awful situation that's going on in Gaza right now. It's terrible.
Hamas could use that fuel that they have there if they were good guys for their cause, for their people, right? And Israel could let that other 400,000 liters of fuel in, but they have legitimate concerns that Hamas is going to steal it, which they probably could.
Yes. But do you do it on the do you not do it on the chance that it does get stolen? I can't let people suffer. I can't let innocent people that are caught in the middle suffer on the chance that Hamas is going to steal that fuel. I got to take the chance that it's going to get to the people that need it the most.
But what if I told you that if Hamas steals that fuel, that people are going to suffer because of it?
Yeah.
Right. And this is why you have security councils. This is why you have multiple people sitting at a table with differing opinions, offering their points of view. This is why you don't have yes men or women sitting at the round table going, "You're absolutely right. We think you should drink bleach. We think you should shine a UV light down your throat. That'll cure that horrific disease." Sounds good. Yes, sir. Right, ma'am. Whatever. This is why smart people put different opinions, different educated expert opinions around. And then unfortunately, decisions fall upon those people. Then we call them leaders. And at this point, I think we can look at leadership as a whole here and see a whole lot of failure. I think we can see a ginormous amount of cowardice, but at the same time, we can see some acts of humanitarianism. I honestly believe that Israel would have already have sent tens of thousands of their own troops to knowing doom in those tunnels underneath Gaza had it not been, and inflaming the entire region had it not been for the intervention of the United States government, including its president. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to say, if you want to like throw out the argument, like, hey, he's just defending the old guard, man, sometimes we need
better than the alternative. Yeah.
Sometimes we need a little bit of that as we transition into something. But while that transition is happening, we need people that will just keep our moral compass straight.
Sure.
And Joe Biden.
Yeah, we're still no close to coming up with a plan of what this looks like when it's all over. Like what is the end, A, and what happens after it's over? Where Israel still is not interested in having those discussions, it seems. And it is important to keep them focused on understanding the importance of that based on our own mistakes. I think it's humbling for a president like Biden to go to these countries and say, listen, we went through something like this and we made terrible mistakes that we could admit in hindsight were bad mistakes. We let our emotions get the best of us. Being willing to admit that makes your advice a lot easier to take, right? That was a great approach. I'll give him credit. He may be damn near senile, but whoever's around him that fed him whatever fucking narrative he was going to give, they did a good job of feeding him the right narrative there.
I think he's a little more sharp than than we get.
Yeah,
I think the media likes to pick and choose, and there's a marked difference what the media shows you, what the president says versus what the former president says, because there's a segment coming of some crazy ass shit that the former president has said. That if you think what Joe Biden says is like, oh, you see now, he said this, he said that. Just the other day, Trump just said that Viktor Orban,
Turkey,
president, is the of Hungary.
Oh, Hungary. Excuse me. Sorry, I knew it was a food related word.
The president of Turkey.
That's yes.
Which we all know is President Erdogan. So, if Joe Biden said that in public, could you imagine?
Oh yeah,
what the media would be doing right now? Trump said it, and I would venture a guess that there's probably only 3 of us in the chat zone right now that know he said it. Erdogan. I said it wrong. It's great because
also Dad F and Brooks coming up with great rules for this soccer game.
To carry a weapon.
Yeah, only the goalie will.
He's the rules master. He'll be the games master that he'll flowing robes, cigarette in one hand, Tisky in the other, that announces the start of the game and that kind of stuff. I all for that for Dad F and Brooks. One more thing to kind of tie a little bit of bow, and what's going on in Ukraine right now is very interesting, but that might not be the focus of the show right now. But they got ATACMS, which is a longer range missile, and they proved effective when they completely wiped out a complete airstrip full of helicopters and bombers. And it was unannounced, so Russia wasn't expecting it, and it severely crippled a certain Russian air ability to deliver attacks. But there's been some very interesting things found on the bodies of these Hamas fighters, including pills. The pills of Captagon. Have you ever heard of Captagon, Ben?
No, I know about a lot of drugs. I don't know about Captagon though.
This stimulant drug, also known as cocaine for the poor, allowed
Oh, okay.
allowed terrorists to commit heinous acts with the sense of calmness and indifference. Simultaneously, it kept them highly alert for extended periods and suppressed their appetite. Basically, it is a rage-inducing amphetamine type stimulant that has been clandestine, produced in southern Europe and trafficked through Turkey. Erdogan. To the consumer markets on the Arabian Peninsula. This is not the first time we've heard of stimulants being used in the battlefield. In fact, it kind of goes
No,
back
I
to
was
the
just gonna
Nazis.
say that, like the Nazis. I was waiting for you to stop because I was gonna say, wait a minute, did you just read a story about the Nazis? Because the Nazis literally did the same thing.
And the same thing is almost the same drug is being found on Russian soldiers. Hello, Rick. Found dead on the battlefield in Ukraine. A
For the
very
same
similar
reasons, the
substance.
exact same reasons they're using these amphetamines.
Go get him, Tiger.
Yeah, you could stay up longer. You could stay a little more focused. Yeah,
Run a little bit farther. Catch the
run a
next
little bit
bullet.
farther. Yeah, got the blood's pumping a little bit
We
better.
don't have to
Yeah.
feed you rations. We didn't even really give you a helmet that was like anything worth a
Well,
damn.
look, it says here it allows the terrorists to commit heinous acts with a sense of calmness and indifference. Simultaneously, it kept them highly alert for extended periods of time and suppress their appetites. I mean, if you wanted to give soldiers that you wanted to make killing machines a drug, you would give them this drug, right? Yeah, so this makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm sure, let's spade is a spade. I'm sure the U.S. military has something similar, and I will bet money. I don't think anybody would take me up on that bet that the U.S. military has something similar. It's just a little more glamorous and doesn't have the well. Similar substances have been found on and in the systems of dead Russian soldiers on the battlefield in Ukraine.
Hey, look at
And
that.
some of these soldiers, even though they are dead and might be missing their head, are still twitching because of the effects of the drug while their corpse is lying on the smoking battlefields.
Holy shit. God damn.
And I look,
Is it so? The same? Are you saying the same drugs, like the same pills, are being found on both soldiers? Because if that's what you're saying, I want to first confirm that. That's what you're saying. The same pills are being found,
I
or the
won't
same kind
say
of
that.
drug,
The same
amphetamine type drugs.
type drug. I'm not going to say it's the same
Okay,
drug
because I was gonna say
don't
that would
really
be
have evidence.
another connection between Russia and
Well,
Hamas.
I think I'm drawing a straight line here, Ben. To be honest with you,
Thank you. I was hoping I was catching on, but yes, yeah. Here's another connection between Russia and Hamas. Wow.
and imagine that
Surprise,
the
surprise.
same tactics, right?
Yes.
The same like torture people, the same like rape and murder
It's like they're
tactics,
using
and
the same playbook.
imagine that. And I'm
It's
sure,
like
like
they're getting information from somebody.
who that might have visited the Kremlin a couple of
I don't
times
know.
last year. I don't know. It's
I
that
don't know.
wacky morning zoo.
Hey.
So again, the same thing. The Germans did it for sure. And
Hitler was one of Hitler's biggest downfalls was that he was so fucked up on amphetamines that he was making crazy decisions that cost them the war. Like there was a point where he was winning. Like let the history books show that there was a small period of time where like he was winning and things were going his way, and there are historians that would argue that his drug abuse is a huge factor in him making some really terrible decisions that led to the things turning around very quickly for the Germans.
I just want to point out first that Gigi, Amy Cleaver, was the first one to I was just about to say that he was gacked out on Whoop Chicken. The same. It's a thing.
Yeah.
The second, and then there's Aunt Chris. The second point is like, yep, until the drugs really set in. And oh, and by the way, have you ever YouTube videos of Hitler shaking? Because they're awfully similar to videos you might find on YouTube of Vladimir Putin shaking while sitting in a chair. So I maybe both have Parkinson's. I don't know that. I'm not their doctor. But I also know people who are on the Twitchies, right? I can kind of recognize that. We got that little extra like, you have to put a death grip on the arms of your chair so your arms and hands aren't shaking because you're so gacked up on Whoop Chicken.
I can't find anything I can't find anything quickly. But if you just type in Hitler drugs into YouTube, there are a ton of videos talking about his drug use.
It's well known.
Yeah.
How much methamphetamine was in his life and what it meant to basically the rapid downfall of the Third Reich, because it wasn't just he was winning, he was dominating.
Right. I was tempering it a little bit, but yes.
A high Hitler. A higher Hitler. Just to kind of throw a little bit. No, that's bad. We shouldn't be joking about that. But here we are. Welcome to Topic Thunder and the world's most dangerous chance on the Thunderdome. You know what? Ben, we parked on this story for a while. So I think I want to kind of skip through a couple of things. But yeah, like, okay, so the Russian soldier, imagine that there's a connection. But I don't even want to. Hey, folks, we have a Speaker of the House in the House of Representatives. And he's anti LGBTQ as you can get. He's absolutely as anti-abortion for any reason as you can get. And he doesn't accept the results of the 2020 election. Oh boy.
He checks all the boxes, Brooks. I didn't know who this fucking asshole was until about 4 hours ago when it was announced, when I got an alert on my phone that said he was elected as the Speaker of the House. So I immediately went, I've literally never heard of this asshole. And he's got the most, obviously the most common name one could possibly have in the United States. Like Mike Johnson is his plain milquetoast average white American that's just what you picture. And he is what you picture when you picture what Mike Johnson that is in the House of Representatives, and a super conservative. That guy looks like a super conservative. Like and reading up on him, holy cow, Brooks. He's low key Mr. Trump. He's one of the biggest Trump lackeys there is. And he was not very media. He was not out on the media. He wasn't a face of the Trump movement, but even worse, he was the behind the scenes Trump supporter. He was a quiet one.
He was the sleeper.
Yes.
And the one that was kind of almost milquetoast. Hey, Joe. He was almost like they kind of wanted him in the first place and wanted to kind of rope-a-dope you a little bit with here's a Jim Jordan for you. Here's a Jim Jordan again for you. Oh, Steve Scalise. Oh, not quite. But then here's this guy named Mike Johnson. He looks the part. He sounds the part. And he certainly has that ultra right-wing handbook. And yes, he supported a coup against the United States of America.
Sure fucking did.
Nowhere near a seat of power in our government. Absolutely nowhere near. In fact, dare I say, might be a criminal. I don't know. You support a coup? We should probably ask you a few questions while you're in an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, how he came to be in the government is also an interesting story. I'm sure you're going to get into that too.
No, actually, I don't want to talk about this asshole any more than I have to be honest.
All right, fuck him then.
I think we're in for actually a palate cleanse, Ben.
All right. Let's do it.
I mean, as much as I want to talk about domestic situations, we probably spent too much time on international ones, which is our want. But I think in order to kind of keep things light and kind of brighten up our life and remind ourselves that there are good things, folks, this is a cheer dad in Temple, Texas, who was, I don't know, this is the dad, the daughter's on the field, and he's supporting his daughter in a way that should make you tear up a little bit.
Good for him.
Man's got moves too, by the way.
Yeah, he's been practicing with his daughter.
His daughter. He's out there like you would be if it was your son.
He knows the routine. I mean, good for him.
Look at that. And he's built and works. It clearly works out that nobody's gonna fuck with him. Too. I like that part too. Like, go ahead and say something to that guy, right?
Sure.
It'll be a dance off, and you're gonna lose.
This is much better news. This is much better than the other news that's coming out of Texas these days.
Well, we were gonna you want to talk about that?
We can briefly. It was a story I was going to share. It's something that is like literally my backyard.
Yep.
Lubbock County, the county that I live in, it has passed laws that basically punish people for helping women cross state lines to get an abortion. They call it abortion trafficking. That's the way that they frame it, and it's the largest county that's in the country at this point to have passed such a law, and it's insane and infuriating because it's almost impossible to police. You're gonna share your screen here.
Yeah. Share my screen.
There you go. So they want to punish people that no, this isn't punishing the woman who's getting an abortion. This is to punish those that help a woman cross state lines to get an abortion. And the way that they are going to police this basically is by snitches, civil lawsuits. They're going to allow pro-abortion or anti-abortion psychopaths to creep around on Facebook and social media and see where people are getting help, getting abortions, and then they can snitch on them and sue them for helping someone get an abortion.
And by the way, I just want to point out in this same story is a picture of a baby.
Right. Together we rise. Yeah. Texas, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, baby. It's so insane. And obviously this needs to be challenged because, and I say this because Brett Kavanaugh, who we've talked about many times on this very airwaves, about how conservative he is and what a conservative asset he is and how dark money put him in the place that he was to make decisions that support things like this. But when he struck down Roe versus Wade, in his decision, he pointed out in there, in his decision, that he wanted to make clear that punishing and restricting people's movement over state lines was a line that he didn't think should be crossed. And this crosses that exact line. Like, the government is basically in their own way restricting free movement of citizens.
Let me
across
quote
state lines.
Justice Kavanaugh here. Quote, may a state bar a resident of that state from traveling to another state to obtain an abortion? In my view, the answer is no, based on the constitutional right to interstate travel. End quote.
So I think this is something that I hope someone is going to challenge and take all the way to the Supreme Court. I think this is another thing in Texas where they're trying to punish. This is very similar to the law that they tried to pass, where you could snitch on women getting an abortion, and you could civilly sue them for getting an abortion. They're incentivizing snitching, is what this all is.
The same thing with what Florida did with like you can't bring water to people that are in like voting lines, and people can call you on
Right.
it. And imagine that. That's kind of what happened in places like I don't know, Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
Because
it's crazy. Bounty hunting women, exactly.
they encouraged people to snitch on their neighbors, and it became almost like the Salem witch hunts, that like even if you were being suspected, or your dog pooped on you, their dog pooped on your lawn, well, you make a private phone call and say, I think these people are Jews, I think these people had an abortion, and there isn't a knock on the door. There are a bunch of people in stormtrooper outfits, not Star Wars stormtrooper, but like SWAT outfits, and knocking down your door, heavy weaponry pointed at your face, and dragged you out, and no one sees you again.
Yep,
And
this is
don't
every week, Brooks. There's more and more of this stuff coming out of right-wing conservative state legislatures that just are mind-boggling that it's allowed to happen. And just to put it in perspective, you know how liberal I am. Lubbock County is literally one of the most conservative places on planet Earth. It was one of the top 5 counties in terms of percentage of people who voted for Trump.
I don't know how you and Adrian do it.
And 2020. So, was it 2016 and 2020? Is that what it was? Yeah, I know. Right?
2016, 2020. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, largest percentage, top 5 largest percentage of Trump voters right here in Lubbock County. And here I am, my super liberal, socialist, leaning, almost communist,
Bob Probert loving.
Yeah, son of a bitch. How do I do it? I don't know.
Woo! You almost need to do a woo. Ben, let's speaking of Jews, Ben, why don't we just continue this topic? Why don't we jump to that 20? That's a great segue. Or why don't we jump to that 23andMe study story, right? This might hit home, as 23andMe user data targeting Ashkenazi Jews has leaked online.
Okay.
A database that has been shared on the dark web forums and viewed by NBC News has a list of almost 1 billion people who have allegedly used the service and turned up to be Ashkenazi Jew. That's a very, I guess, like
what's the significance?
Like
of
the OG Jews, I guess, is the
okay, gotcha.
The crude way of saying that, like the I guess the original Jewish heritage, right?
Gotcha. Because it's a bloodline, ultimately, right?
Ultimately, yes, and that's why you're not Jewish unless your mother was Jewish. Is basically to show you that you shared your mother's blood. That is, if your father was Jewish and your mother was from Mars, you're not Jewish.
Interesting.
If your father was from Mars and your mother's Jewish, you're Jewish. L'chaim, welcome to the club.
And it's all a belief that your bloodline dates back or runs back to like Jesus, right? Or
Abraham.
Abraham. There you go. Abraham. I knew it was one of those two.
Yeah. All 3 major religions are basically Abrahamic religions. They all have the same basic origin, technically worship the same God, but don't tell them that. A database that has been shared on the dark web and viewed by NBC News lists 1 million people who allegedly have used the service of 23andMe. It includes their first and last names, sex, 23andMe's evaluation of their ancestors, and where they came from. The database is titled Ashkenazi DNA of Celebrities. Though most of the people aren't famous, and it appears to be sorted to include only people with Ashkenazi heritage. NBC News was able to verify the data of 2 23andMe users in the breach as authentic. Quote, Crazy. This could be used by the Nazis. One person who appears in a database says, no, one person who appears to know exactly what's happening here is what that quote should be. The company is still investigating the incident, but is treating the leak as authentic. What did you think was going to happen? In an email statement, a 23andMe spokesperson said that the company believes it wasn't hacked per se. Instead, it believes that the hackers simply gained some user's password that had been hacked and leaked from other sites that exploited the fact that 23andMe can give users to vast access to information of other people's genetic information. In other words,
wait a minute. So if you sign up for 23andMe, you get access to other people's genetic information?
No, that's part of hacking. Is that once you are able to crack the security sphere, you then are able to access anybody's shit. That's called hacking. And for them to blatantly say in the same statement, we weren't necessarily hacked per se, and then in the next sentence said it believes that the hackers simply gained some users' passwords? What the fuck do you think hacking is? On what level are you? If you wrote that sentence as a PR spin and crisis management firm and got paid for it, God bless you. I want your fucking job, because I can write that and I can make it even simpler and smoother like sweet candy. We weren't hacked per se. We just, other users were hacked, and then these hackers gained their passwords by hacking their accounts, but we weren't hacked per se. And you gave out a list of a very specific group of people.
Yeah, well, it gave out, not real. I mean, they got hacked by, and the hackers seem to have organized that list, right? That's what I'm gaining from this. It's not like 23andMe was like, here's a list of these people. But this just goes to show you once again,
somebody's data.
Human beings can't have anything nice without fucking it up. 23andMe was just like, hey, do you want to know your family's history? Do you want to know who you might be related to? And Nazis have fucking invaded and created a hit list out of it. I mean, we just can't have anything without shitheads fucking it up and using it for fucking shithead purposes. Ben, human beings suck, is what this basically says.
On the 11th of October, I received an email from 23andMe. One of those people that submitted their DNA.
Yeah, I want to. I really do. I want to. I think it's a cool idea, but
and I was informed my data may have been compromised.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On the 11th of October. When did this story come out? This story came out on the 7th of October. Which falls
a couple of days.
Yeah. Once the story gets out, that's when it's important to the company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oops.
Sure.
Oops. Okay. Speaking of oops, Ben, have you ever struggled to open a jar?
Yes, I have. Yes, that's definitely happened.
Has your significant other struggled to open a jar and handed it to you and said, "Can you do this?"
Yes, and I have also failed, and I am man enough to admit I have not been able to open up a jar and given it to my significant other who was able to open up the jar.
So. We all know Adrian's a certified badass.
Yeah.
Well, same thing is happening to NASA. Ben, we talked about how NASA sent a satellite out.
I remember this image before. Asteroid. Yes.
Right. They literally grabbed a little sample of an asteroid.
Brought it back, millions of miles or some shit. Yeah.
Right. Successfully landed this capsule full of intriguing asteroid soil samples that might prove a whole bunch of things about the creation or our solar system, and even, dare I say, life itself. And they can't open it.
We can't get it
because
open.
it's
That's
stuck.
fucking great.
The
Jesus.
sample. So, the sample canister.
Did they run it under hot water? Did they tap it with a spoon? Nothing?
Apparently, for the past week, the curation team for the OSIRIS-REx mission has been having a hard time opening up the head round sampler at the end of an articulated arm on the spacecraft that was used to grab the sample from the asteroid. The TAGSAM, the Touch and Go Sample Acquisition Mechanism, is where the bulk of the asteroid sample is. And therefore, it is being carefully handled by members of the team through a specialized glove box under a flow of nitrogen to prevent contamination.
Have they tried using a dish rag?
Quote, after multiple attempts at removal, the team has discovered 2 of the 35 fascinators on the head could not be removed with current tools approved in the OSIRIS-REx glove box. NASA wrote in a blog post on Friday, continuing to quote, the team has been working to develop and implement new approaches to extract material inside the head while continuing to keep the sample safe and pristine.
You gotta smack it on the bottom of the canister.
Just give it a little, we've all done that. Felt, right? The problem is this thing's from space, and we have to keep this thing pristine, free from contamination. And they're literally doing one of those weird things where they have this weird structure, like this sealed glass vacuum environment, where they have to use special gloves and come in like your handle. Anybody's who's ever handled chemicals under a hood. They're literally like special gloves, so they have special tools approved for this. And apparently, they don't have.
They didn't think of this ahead of time to figure out that there might be a problem. So develop a tool that would be approved in time.
Imagine that
this thing traveled back millions of miles, and they had plenty of time to think of this.
Think about this, right? Think about how simple we're all thinking this is, and the absolute complex idea that we sent something into space. I would assume most everybody has.
Oh my god!
If you haven't handled chemicals under a hood, I don't know how you're living. I don't know how you get your kicks, and now I don't want to know how you get your kicks. Weirdos.
Leave it to Billy Wack to pick up on the most insane thing that you've said. Make me visualize it.
Yeah. Brooks under a hood. Speaking of being under a hood, okay, fine. Let's double down on it. Let's double down on how cool our bodies are, specifically our immune system. Okay. You want to see footage of a human white blood cell chasing bacteria?
Okay.
I did. Oh yeah. Check out. You want a hero, Ben? You want a hero until the end of the night? Here's your white blood cells chasing around a piece of shit that's trying to get you sick and kill you.
It's those little specks, right? It's
right.
Those little.
They're furiously trying to avoid the ginormous.
Gotta get out of here! Get away from me, you fucking blob! I'm trying to do some shit here. I'm trying to be a bacteria.
No, I'm trying to kill this motherfucker. What are you doing?
Got you, bitch.
Got you,
bitch. Atari Pac-Man.
It's a weird.
It is like a video game, yeah.
And that's what's going on inside of your body right now.
That's fucking
right
crazy.
now. That is what Topic Thunder is all about right there. We opened the show talking about we're killing each other for no goddamn good reason other than belief in a flag or a religion. And we
all have this going on. That's what makes it. We're all human. At the end of the day, whatever differences, whatever skin differences, religious difference, ideological difference, Skin
That's a
color
rough me up.
difference.
Skin difference is a
Skin-
rough me up song.
Yes.
It's my 5.5 favorite rough me up song. Skin difference. It's different every time you hear it. That's why it messes me up. Skin difference. Billy Wagoner right there when you say some stupid shit like that. Welcome to Topic of Thunder, folks. If you don't know Rough Me Up, we should do a whole show on Rough Me Up, actually. Anyway, neither here nor there. Ben,
I lost my train of thought. Oh my god!
And that's fine, and that's good because this next
shit.
segment is meant to do something we don't normally do here on the show. But I'm gonna toot our gosh darn horn right now, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we here at Top of Thunder, we see things and bring it to you well before they become cool. Trust, it's happened multiple times. It's not time for the no. Hold your lightning bolts, folks. Hold on to your lightning bolts.
Yet. It's a preemptive bolt.
I noticed something during last Sunday's Bears game, and I was like, "What the?" I was validated. I was absolutely 1,000% validated in my suspicions that not the white blood cells, a touchdown dance, celebratory dance, mimicked something that we brought to you weeks ago.
Oh yeah, the Chop Fest thing that those people are doing. That's great.
Video play a couple times because they nail it. And I don't know if we have Chicago Bears players watching the show. We appreciate it if you do.
That'd be awesome, right?
Tell the McCaskies to sell the fucking team.
Please tell Justin Fields to stop being bad.
Stop, please. Because the whole city of Chicago is nicer when the Bears are good. Makes things more pleasant for us here. Anyway, folks.
So great. That is great, though.
Again, I don't want to toot our horn too much, but when we kind of get something ahead of time like this,
we're ahead of the game a lot.
Gotta let you know that, and it's not us, Ben. It's our producers. We have to give our.
We have a hard-working staff behind the scenes.
Absolutely, a hard-working staff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you my dad's favorite segment. Hitting the post is what we do here on the show. Release your thunderbolts, ladies and gentlemen. For you are in the Thunderdome. You are the Thunderdome. And well, if you're new to the segment, let me just explain really quick the rules. There aren't many, but here they are. 3 stories enter the Thunderdome, and 1 is voted
number 4
to be read by you, the people. Without further dilly or
where did I go? Oh, there I go.
dally, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Dahl, awkward pause. Headline number 1. A landscaping crew mows around a dead body, assuming it was a Halloween prop.
Yes! Coming out the gate strong.
Headline number 2. Man poses as mannequin in storefront, goes on shopping spree after the mall closes.
That's like kind of like an 80s movie, isn't it?
Named Mannequin. It's true. Kim Cattrall. Looking hot as shit in that movie, too, in the 80s. By the way. And headline number 3. Compose myself. Florida woman's drunken ride at 120 miles an hour ends with, quote, violent fingernail attack on trooper.
Okay. All right. There's some to digest.
There's some video, though, that's pretty interesting. Anyway, folks, you heard the headlines. There are some serious VIPs throwing up the bolts, including Mr. Aaron James. So, folks, this is what the show is about. This is the coup de grace, the grand finale, the main event, if you will. It is the lightning round, so your votes matter. Just so everybody,
God, you're
if
being
you're on the
runaway
fence,
already.
you don't have a particular favorite. We're gonna go over the headlines one more time before making our final contabulations. So here they are. Headline number 1. Landscaping crew mows around a dead body, assuming it was a Halloween prop.
It's so good. Any other week, it wins.
Headline number 2. Man poses as mannequin in storefront and goes on shopping spree after the mall closes. And headline number 3. Florida woman's drunken ride at 120 miles an hour ends with a violent attack on the trooper. Violent fingernail attack, I should specify.
It's good. Well, as good as a distant third this week.
You would, and it's a rare feat when a Florida person doesn't win.
I know no Florida person this week.
Halloween
Alternate headlines from our boy: Halloween wins again. Mannequin master and Iron Foot with tiger claws.
We call that the Ryan Henson remix, ladies and gentlemen.
And he's going to vote for number 3.
He went for Florida woman.
The real magic is that there's still a shopping mall you can go into and essentially do this. Yeah, I agree. In the meantime, you said that it reminded you of a movie, and so I felt like we had to. This movie?
We're gonna get banned in Canada.
Jonathan Switcher,
Wrong sex.
loves to talk to his work.
You know, you're the first thing that created and made me feel like an artist. Don't you like your new scarf?
He never expected
Not especially.
to hear it talk back.
I really think I'm going crazy.
I am so glad you're working here. I never thought they'd hire anyone stranger than me.
You're the only one who can see me like this.
To the rest of the world, he's a disaster.
You're fired.
He's a disaster.
And she's a dummy.
You were one sick puppy.
But together,
Hey, don't do that.
You weren't so shy when you were creating me.
You weren't so real.
they make magic.
Look at him with the
And we made money, so we did weird science after this with a different cast.
to keep an eye on him for me.
And that guy did Police Academy.
Indeed, doing the same character essentially.
Oh yeah.
All the girl mannequins disappeared
So
from
is Kim
last night's
Cattrall.
film at 11. Yes, my dear, your favorite. She is gone too. Get him!
He was mentally ill. Yes, exactly.
And you know, Kim Cattrall went on to do Big Trouble in Little China. So shortly
And
after
Sex
this
in the
was-
City, and a little show called Sex in the City.
You know I would never bother you when you're getting a piece of wood.
Is that?
Mannequin.
That's the guy from Designing Women, right?
I think so. I think you're correct. So all of the
There you
80s stars, yeah. As Ben got us banned in Canada for that, I think we actually do have an. It was actually
80s
closer.
rapey movies. That was very rapey.
Very rapey. It was cool to be an absolute asshat in the 80s to women. And that's what was marketed to us boys. So just that explains everything. It's not our fault.
Doesn't
You blame Hollywood and
All right.
Ashkenazi Jews.
After that little sidetrack, let's hear about the real life version of Mannequin.
Because it actually won, but not by what you would think. It was kind of close. It
got closer than it appeared to be at the beginning. Yeah.
Let me send this to you right now. Not send it to Ryan Hansen because I have a terrible habit of sending Ryan Hansen stories. Because he sends me stories and I end up pulling the link from the Facebook message, but his little chat window stays up, and then I send him stories. It's a terrible habit. You voted. We heard you, ladies and gentlemen. Headline number 2 is your winner. It's a man poses as a mannequin in the storefront and goes on a shopping spree after the mall closes. The man posed in the mall store window as a mannequin, police said. An alleged thief found a clever way to hide from authorities in Poland, posing in a store window as a mannequin. Quote, a 22-year-old with a bag in his hand froze motionless, pretending to be a mannequin in the front of a store window, police said in a translated statement. In this way, he wanted to avoid being exposed by the cameras. Police said that the clever thief posed in a window display motionless until the mall store closed. Once the last customer had left, the mall doors were secure and a man broke from his stance and robbed the jewelry stand, police said. I like that he broke from his stance like he's some sort of like offensive lineman. right?
Look at him. Look at him.
I know, right? Let's also give it up for the fortitude of a dude who's willing to like hold something like that for that long without like giving out.
Right.
Authorities said the thief came back around for round 2 on another occasion. This time he ate his fill at one of the food stations before stealing a new outfit. Afterward, he returned to have some more food. Polish authorities, I'm sure pierogies and kielbasa.
Right.
Polish authorities said that eventually the man's luck ran out as he was noticed by mall security guards.
On the third time.
He was arrested and police said he could face up to 10 years in prison. This was not the man's first time stealing from a shopping mall, according to the police. The police said he took money from a cash register and attempted to steal other items after it had closed. And that's the end of the article. That's it.
Right. This is like every person's like quasi dream, right? To be able to be in the mall after it closes and just have your run of the place.
Right. I mean, I'm not looking to.
I silently stood in place for hours. All I got were these lousy Wranglers.
And not even like actual Wranglers, like Polish Wranglers. Like you really lost out.
Knockoff.
You really lost out on that one, pal. Folks, what can I say? That is the lightning round. That's democracy in action. We celebrated here on the show. We call it Topic Thunder. So, folks, gosh, it was star.
Polish Wranglers is also that's got to be something. Is that a? That's got to be. It's not a Rough Me Up song. That doesn't really fit Rough Me Up, but it's the house band's new album.
It's like
Polish
a Rough
Wranglers.
Me Up pseudonym for things that they didn't feel fell under their banner. It's like, we're just gonna call ourselves Polish Wranglers. Let's do it. Which is weird for those guys because holy shit, Rough Me Up doesn't give a.
And it's not Wranglers with a W. It's Wranglers with an R. It's
Wranglers with a V. If you wanted to be really specific about your Polish language. So that's Topic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. You are the star of the show. Ben and I just kind of steer the ship a little bit and bring things to you. This show's nothing without you from the deck of the USS Thunderpapa. It's been Topic Thunder. This is Ben and Brooks signing off until next Wednesday at 7 p.m.